Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm honored to rise today in this legislature to speak on the third reading of my private member's bill, Tamil Genocide Education Week. தமிழீழ மண்ணுக்கும் தமிழ் மக்களுக்கும் என் அன்பான வணக்கங்கள். I will begin with a trigger warning. I'll be sharing stories about the horrors of the Mullivaikal massacre and will mention aspects of and related to genocide and trauma. This year marks the 12th year anniversary of the Mullivaikal massacres. Yet, I can hear the cries and screams of the Tamil people as it were just yesterday. War, violence, and structural genocide have been ongoing for decades in Sri Lanka. However, in May of 2009, widely commemorated as May Massacre, the Sri Lankan government engaged in a heightened program of genocide marked by artillery shelling, abductions, rape, murders, denial of food and medicine to Tamils in Mullivaikal. Those days were some of the toughest days. It was a living nightmare for the Tamil people. The radio once played joyous Tamil songs, now only spoke the tragedies of our brothers and sisters being killed, raped, and injured. With tears in our eyes, Tamils around the globe took to the streets, pleading for intervention with the world governments. Yet, despite our best attempts, just like that, in a span of few weeks, we lost over 146,000 of our people. The horrors of this time have sadly become part of us. We carry it with us wherever we go, like a 100-pound brick, unable to shed its weight. I hear of people who cannot bear to turn on the radio once again for fear of hearing the devastating news. I hear of people who do not visit the websites where they saw pictures of the devastation. I hear of people who stopped watching Tamil news on TV after seeing the graphic images of injured, mutilated, and dead bodies. I hear of people who say they can taste the pain of the people when they drink kanji, one of the foods that sustained Tamil people in Mullivaikal in 2009. I hear people who say they can smell the stench of rotten bodies after seeing the images of mass graves. One of my constituents once shared, after hearing a story of a young Tamil kid attempting to feed on their mother's dead breast. This story, a young Tamil child attempt to feed on their dead mother's breast. After hearing this story, my constituent could not feed her own child without tears streaming down her cheeks. Others have shared even stories about even a Tim Hortons cup, a vade, or a newspaper, all remind them of a time that the community took to the streets in 2009 and triggered painful memories. I too, like my constituents, have unsuccessfully been able to wash away these memories. These are memories that follow around us like a ghost. And so I understand their pain, their grief. I sadly have tasted it myself. There are more stories than I can ever tell. I hear from business owners, public servants, healthcare workers, frontline care workers, essential workers, that they still hold a tremendous amount of pain and grief from the Tamil genocide. Many Tamil youth played a key role in advocating for interventions and continue to share stories how the traumas of the past continue to affect them today. Even today, as these youth share their stories on social media, there has been international interference in trying to silence their voices. However, their stories matter, and we must hear them. These are the words of Madhura Ratnam, a Toronto trauma settlement counselor. She says, I quote, "I'm a Canadian-born Tamil woman who has never experienced war and genocide firsthand. How can I possibly understand what my people went through? It's generational trauma, to be exact. I grew up hearing stories about my parents and my family members escaping the war. Most of them were tortured and killed during the last days of 2009 genocide. It hurts to this day that I will never get a chance to see them. I never imagined myself pursuing a social work degree and working with victims of torture and war. However, I realized that the stories and experiences my family members and my Tamil people have shared with me really impacted my life decisions. Intergenerational and historic traumas runs deep and continues for many years. Studies into the mental effects of the Rwandan genocide have found that even after many years later, survivors, their families, they suffered from trauma, PTSD, and depressive and anxiety symptoms. Genocide affects an entire community of people and continues to hurt. We must help ease the pain. Recognition is a key part of healing. The Sri Lankan state has not only denied the responsibility for the genocide, they have been actively working to erase the memory of the genocide. Even the memory of genocide and remembering being targeted. Recently, a memorial monument commemorating the Mullivaikal massacre in Jaffna University was demolished. This has been widely condemned by Tamil diaspora and many leaders across the world. These incidents continue to spark fear and reignite the trauma the Tamil community has been experienced due to the genocide. The suffering is ongoing and continues to this day. The diaspora Tamils have strongly urged their respective governments to help acknowledge the pain and suffering they have endured and have been endured by their kin. Elie Wiesel, a Holocaust survivor and Nobel laureate, famously said, "For the dead and the living, we must bear witness." A Tamil Genocide Education Week provides an opportunity to reflect on and educate the public about the enduring lessons of the Tamil genocide and other crimes against humanity. We need to ensure safe spaces for people to discuss topics like this and recognize that healing needs to take place. There is a greater power in collective healing. I have been receiving tremendous support for moving forward with this bill. There are so many Tamil youth in Ontario that came forward to share stories about their pain and suffering through the I Am Tamil campaign. Thousands of people from Sudbury, Windsor, Waterloo, Hamilton, across GTA and all the way to Ottawa have been writing letters to their MPPs asking to pass this bill. I want to thank each and every one of these individuals for their tireless efforts in supporting this bill. Most notably, I want to thank the grassroots organizations such as the National Council of Canadian Tamils, Canadian Tamil Youth Alliance, and the Tamil Youth Organization for all your continuous efforts. We couldn't have come this far without the support of these organizations and the community at large. Last but not least, I want to thank my colleagues for taking the time to listen to your constituents regarding their trauma and continuing to support this bill. Today, this assembly is making a history. We stand together to denounce genocide and educate our future generation about the impacts of genocide. While we cannot bring back the lives that were lost, together, today, we can make a difference in the lives of many Tamil Canadians by acknowledging their pain and the loss of their family and friends. We are giving the space for Tamil community to heal right here in Ontario. We stand together as a true example of democracy. We stand together for the people of this province. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.